Cool. Just hit go, and we will give a few seconds for everyone to join us, and then we can do some introductions. You see my screen right there, Si?
Yeah, screen looks spot on. Always amazes me how many people have note takers join all these meetings now.
Oh yeah. This probably looks really good for our stats, actually. Uh,
Yeah, lots of attendees.
yeah, lots of attendees. Double the amount of attendees. All right. Well, let's not hang around too long and just get into it. So, I guess firstly, welcome everyone to the first new features roundup for Socket for 2026, which is pretty exciting, and we've got lots of goodies to show you, but also quite excited about the year to come. And the team have been doing quite a lot of sort of planning and thinking about what we're going to build next as well. So I'll give you a little bit of an admin kind of run through to start with. So in terms of the agenda, I've got a few things to run through with you. And actually, firstly, I should probably introduce myself, shouldn't I, really? So, hey everyone, just in case you haven't seen me before, my name's Rich. I'm one of the co-founders of Socket, and I'm very much sort of product and development focused. And I'm going to be running you through some live demos of a lot of new features that we've got today. So wish me luck. And I'm also joined by Sai, who's our customer success manager. So do you want to say hi, Sai?
Yeah, morning everyone. Just said there in the chat, Happy New Year to everyone we haven't spoken to since the beginning of January.
Cool. Yeah. So if you do book in a session with us or jump onto support chat, things like that, you are quite very likely, in fact, to run into Sai. So he's more than happy to help you in terms of the nitty-gritty detail and getting started and whatever questions you might have. And so Sai's joining me today and keeping an eye on the Q&A side of things. So feel free to pop any questions that you do have into the Q&A box. Some of them we might tackle along the way, but we also have set aside some time at the end to run through those as well. Um, and if any of your colleagues aren't able to join us today or you need to drop off early, we are also recording this and you will be sent a link to the recording straight after the webinar, or actually not straight after, but soon after the webinar anyway. So don't worry too much, you will get the recording. And yeah, I think we should jump into it. So firstly, just a quick one. So this is a new features webinar for Socket. So what we're going to be focusing on is everything that we've kind of built out over the last few months. So it's not going to dive into like a kind of a broad introduction into what Socket does. For that kind of thing, what I'd recommend is that you head over to our website, usesocket.com. And if you are new to us, then jump on and start a trial. You can get started straight away. And you can also book in a call with someone on the team, probably Sai, if I'm honest. And you can just jump on from there and you'll get a good intro. But really quickly, basically, Socket is all about client engagement. So we help you with everything from setting up nice structured pricing through to leads coming in and managing those along a kind of pipeline, then putting together proposals, using those alongside engagement letters, and then workflow automation. So we've got a whole bunch of integrations. And then finally, billing management, both in terms of one-off pieces of work and also recurring monthly billing. So that's kind of that's what we do in a nutshell. But I will from now on in, I'm kind of jumping into the detail. So um, just in terms of where we're at with our integrations and modules, a quick update since the last quarterly webinar. So our XPM integration is now fully live. You can jump in and hook it up. You don't need to speak to anyone, and it's fully available. So yeah, go nuts. The Advent integration is also the same. So if you've been thinking about Advent, now's the time, jump in and give it a crack. We're getting really positive responses, people that are using Advent. And QuickBooks, we're still looking for people to kind of jump in and help us kind of sort of finalize that integration. It is looking pretty good. But yeah, we're always keen to speak to more people on the QuickBooks side of things. And lastly, FYI, super close in terms of that being fully available. It is in closed beta at the moment, so essentially at the moment to hook it up, you need to just drop us a note and drop the FYI team a note, and we can get you up and running for there. So yeah, a few integrations to run through there. Um, just before I jump into showing you some of the new features, I just wanted to just run through this really quick. It is one of the new features that I'm going to be showing you, and just something I wanted you to kind of ponder on before we jump in is around do you actually know how happy your clients are? And I think something we get quite a lot is around we hear phrases like "don't rock the boat" or we just want to kind of like keep things on an even keel, or like if if you don't disturb the hornet's nest, then everything's fine. I think there's different schools of thought there, but certainly the one of the tools I'm going to show you is around ability to poll your clients for customer satisfaction, essentially. And so this is a really good way of actually getting a really good sort of finger on the pulse in terms of how happy everyone is, and hopefully hitting off anyone who's not particularly happy, or jumping on where people are really happy and maybe you can upsell. So that's just something to think about. But without further ado, I think we're going to jump in. So if I jump out of that and jump across to here, how's that looking, Si? Can you see that okay?
Yeah, all good.
Fantastic. So here we are in Socket, and the first sort of set of things I want to run you through is a few enhancements to the proposal space. So if I jump into this proposal that I've been putting together for Bayside Club here, um, one of the requests that we had was for more ad hoc project work, or work orders, as some people call them. The ability to kind of get into a bit more detail and make it seem a bit more like a kind of structured project. And so one little thing that we've done is if you jump down to the kind of projects area and you start a new project here, um, and we'll do migration to new ledger. The really big one really is that you've actually just got a lot more space in the description area to add a big long description. So what this allows you to do is essentially just get into a lot more detail in here and make it seem a lot more kind of professional, I guess. And you can sort of really clearly outline the scope. And you've got 5,000 characters there, so that's quite a lot. And then you've got a whole bunch of extra notes that you can add into each custom process that you add into that project as well. So I'm just going to quickly put this together because um, it's also something that I want to show you in a second. So I've got my project here as well. And I'm just going to go along and come back to that actually, I think. Yeah, let's do that. Um, I'm going to actually just set this to approved, just so that we can um, uh, check out something else that I want to show you around the project side of things. So the other little tweak that I wanted to show you on here was just a little bit more guardrails around um, uh, doing renewals or minor adjustments when you're looking to change proposals. One piece of feedback we had was it's quite easy to almost end up like having duplicate proposals in play, or starting new proposals when one was already kind of being drafted up or something like that. So a typical scenario might be that you've got your filters on here and you're only interested in looking at like active proposals. And one that I was looking at earlier was this particular proposal here. And so if we jump in, and if I was to look at this client, or we can actually, if I go to start a renewal here, so this is version 3 of a proposal. You can see that it's closing soon, so that's your first little kind of warning sign that maybe something is actually going to be superseding this particular proposal. But if I hit renew here, we're now also bringing through other proposals that might be in progress. So Here we can see that actually there's already a V4. It's already marked as one, so it's going to be kicking in probably in February. So right now it's just giving you a little warning there, and we can jump to that one and make the adjustment off the back of that one if we want to. Um, does that make sense? Am I missing anything there in terms of explaining that? Or
No, I think that's quite clear there. Just adding a bit more visibility, so you're not duplicating your work or doing things twice or anything like that.
yeah, absolutely. All right, cool. A couple of other things in the proposal space that I wanted to show you. So the first one is around how do I put this? Well, I guess until recently, we handled one part of the sort of essentially the happy path of proposals. So when you put a proposal out there in front of a client, um, the kind of one thing that we allowed you and the client to do within the system was actually approve it and say, "Cool, this one's done. I'm happy with it. It's signed. It's approved. Good to go." Um, what we didn't really have was a way for the client to let you know that they weren't happy with the proposal. And so what we've now built in is a way for clients to reject the proposal or decline the proposal in a way that is quite informative and allows a bit more kind of back and forth. So, I'm sure for whatever reason, rather than being completely ghosted, you'd prefer to be notified one way or the other as to whether a proposal was successful or not. And so this just gives one little extra way to allow clients to let you know of that. If I was to um, start another proposal from here, and let's just do a full renewal from here, and we'll tweak something. So I'm just going to add in an extra service, and we come in to here, and we're going to send this out. So if I share our link at the moment, or if we actually, maybe I'll just jump in and preview this. Then from here, at the moment, there's no real way to sort of for the client to let you know that they're not happy with it. But if I jump out of this and I head over to my settings, in the proposal settings, there's now an extra setting down in here where we can, if I scroll down and find it, there's quite a few settings in here these days. Um,
Oh, just there up a bit.
there it is. That's the one. So do you want to allow clients to decline proposals? So it's off by default. But then if you flick it on, then clients will see a decline proposal option when viewing. So I'm going to hit save on that and jump back. And if we jump into here again, click client preview, you can see it's grayed out because I'm just previewing this, but basically they have a decline proposal option. You know what? I might actually, if I log out, I'll grab the link for this. So let's go share via link. So, and then I will log out of here, and we'll actually we'll pretend that we are the client that has got this, and we're going to head to here, and you can see that I've actually got the decline proposal link sort of option there now as the client. So I'm going to hit decline. And the really important thing here is that we're going to gather some feedback. So please can you tell us why? And say not happy with new pricing. Can we reduce scope? Something like that. And so this is the experience for the client essentially, and it says thank you for taking the time to review. And what we do at this point is that Socket will let you and your team know that the proposal has been declined. It will get marked as lost. And so if we jump back into here, I'm going to need to log in again, and we can see that our proposal's been marked as lost here. And so if I can click into this and I go to the activity timeline. From here, you can see that it's been rejected by client. And you can click here and you can actually see what the rejection reason was. You'll also get that in an email. So it will let you know via an email as well. And I'll just check. Yeah, there you go. So you also get a notification in the app as well that that the proposal was declined. So Hopefully that just allows a little bit of extra feedback, a little bit of back and forth there. Lastly, in terms of the proposal space, the other thing that I will show you is in the proposal settings, just under the reminders here, we've also got, I mentioned earlier about the situation where clients ghost you. I think, it's always a real risk and, can happen from time to time where they either decide not to start that funky new business they're thinking of starting, or they've kind of changed their mind for whatever reason, but they don't get around to letting you know. Then what you can do is actually you can actually set an offer expiry here. So what that means is that you can essentially say that the proposal will actually remain valid for 4 weeks, at which point the socket system will automatically mark that proposal as lost. So it just kind of keeps things nice and tidy within the system, and sort of doesn't leave anyone hanging there as well. And so if a client was to then click through, after the 4 weeks to try and view that proposal, then they would see that the proposal is no longer valid, with a prompt to then reach out to you to request a new proposal. That all makes sense, Si?
Yeah, yeah. We've actually had a question through. It's not necessarily linked to one of the things we mentioned there, but someone in the webinar just wants to know, can you mention how you would link your proposal to a lead, and any futures? So I don't know whether that's maybe asking if we've got any sort of future development. So I just wondered if we could quickly go on and show the link to existing lead button on the proposal. Um,
Yeah, absolutely. So if we were to, I mean, you can basically link a proposal to a lead, and essentially in two different places. So you can go into a lead and then link it to a proposal. You can also from here, when you're viewing a proposal, you can click link to existing lead or create new lead. So if you're looking for that extra kind of like sales pipeline tracking that the leads module then provides you, but you've already kind of in the progress of putting a proposal out there, then you've got multiple ways of kind of bringing proposals and leads together, which is quite handy. And so once this has been linked, then you will actually there'll be a link here to the lead itself. And you can click through and, view notes and all the other kind of like activity bits that you can start around leads. Hopefully I've kind of answered the question there.
Yeah,
But
do let us know if you sort of meant something else there with the question. We can maybe look at that directly sort of after the webinar. And then we've just had a question in from Donna, who wants to know if there's a way to tidy the initial proposal dashboard up, which I suppose might actually nicely link on to maybe some of our future development work as well.
yeah, that's right. So I suppose from a sort of first principles perspective, in terms of tidying this up, there's a few different ways. So the first thing is that it will remember your filters in here. So if you do come in and you filter it from this area, then it will remember that, and it will sort of have that kind of pre-filtered when you come here again. The other thing I'd say is that there's a bunch of different kind of functions you've got within here. So you can sort by start date, for example, and you can say I only want to see one proposals, for example, and so then you can see you're quite quickly getting into a bit more of a like a reporting dashboard. And then lastly, from here, something that's maybe not super obvious, but you can actually you can show and hide columns, and you can also manage columns. And so there's actually quite a few columns in here that we don't show by default, but can be super useful depending on how you run your practice. So if you're looking for things where there are differences between kind of like the old proposal and the new proposal, we also show like when there are essentially like supersedes. So if you are like if that proposal is replacing another one, you can view those kind of things. But you can also view other kind of prices. If you typically price on an annual basis, for example, you can see those kind of values coming through in here as well. Um, yeah, hopefully that's helpful. I think
Yeah.
maybe what Si was alluding to there as well is in the roadmap, I'll kind of touch on one of the other things that we are planning, which is a bit more of a proper kind of like reporting dashboard with widgets and things. But yeah, I'll probably go into that in a little bit more detail later on. Um,
Yeah. And then the last one, which I know was something that has come up once or twice through support, is if the proposal is expired or marked as lost, and then they get back in touch, is there a way of making it live again, or do we have to start with a new one?
so there is actually a way of doing it. So let's if we take a look at the lost one here. So from here you can actually click revert to draft, and that's actually a relatively new bit of functionality as well, based on some feedback from you all. So you can actually kind of start, and it will essentially create a version 2 of this particular proposal when you click revert to draft from here. You can also do it from here as well. So you've got revert to draft there as well. So yeah, okay, cool.
Yeah.
I'm just quick check on time. Yeah, I'm
Yeah, yeah, no problem.
going to jump on to talking about the service schedules, socket engage, bit of engagement. We've put a fair amount of work into that area as well. So if I jump down to the service schedule templates, we've been trying to make this area kind of easier to use, easier to get started with. So the first thing I wanted to show you here was if you jump into the service schedule templates and you are using the socket engage module. Um, in here, we used to just have essentially just a list of titles of the socket engage templates. And now we get a bit more descriptive. So you can actually click on one of the templates and actually get a little kind of overview of what that template kind of covers off. So hopefully, we were seeing people essentially they were creating, essentially bringing in all of the templates into their system just so they could kind of see what they did. So this hopefully gives you a bit more of a kind of quick preview of what that is before you need to adopt it, and also kind of pre-fill the template title there as well. Um, but in terms of big time savers, so firstly, I'm going to click on Engage Quick Start here, which is available for Socket Engage. And so when I click Get Suggestions, what it's going to do is actually look at your pricing menu, go through your services, and try and match that up to the Socket Engage template library, and suggest some Socket Engage templates to adopt and bring into your practice. And so it will only look at ones that aren't already matched up to another sort of service schedule template. But what I would say, I guess, is that the more kind of descriptive or the more descriptions you can put into your pricing and your services, the better this kind of tool becomes. But you can see here that it's come up with it's suggesting like financial projections for budget and forecast and cash flow. And so yeah, it's I think you'll get. I mean, it is AI, so you will get like slightly different results every time. I'm not sure about this generic one here. But what I can do is I kind of go through and go, yep, that all looks pretty good. Management accounts, that kind of matches up. Payroll looks good. So I'm going to adopt the selected templates and bring them in. And what that will do is straight away, I've got a whole bunch of templates in my library ready to go. Um, so this is part one of the kind of like service schedule template setup. It used to take quite a long time, so hopefully that makes things a bit faster to get up and running. And then the next step, and we intentionally kind of split this out, but the next step is actually in the pricing itself when you map those templates to your services. So we wanted to make that quite sort of like a manual review step essentially to make sure that you kind of definitely matching the right templates up to the right kind of services. But in here, the menu's changed a little bit. So you can see here there's a new one called service schedules. And if I click into the pricing menu, it's the same again. So in here, it's the same menu. You've got that again. And what that will, this is kind of a new view where on your, essentially, it's got a little sort of explainer there, but basically, on the left-hand side, you've got your pricing, your services that you've set up. And then on the right-hand side, you've got the service schedule templates. So in here at the moment, I haven't linked any service schedule templates to the services, so it won't automatically build my letter of engagement service schedule off the back of that at the moment. And so I can come through and I can sort of manually do the mapping. But to start with, to kind of kick things off, I'm going to hit this suggest templates part here. And similarly to what I was doing last time, it's essentially going to go through and go, well, here's all the services that I've got available. Here's all the templates that I've got available. Can I try and sort of match those up? And so we're using AI again to try and do that. And it will hopefully, if it doesn't time out, it will kind of match those two things up and come up with some suggestions for us. And there we go. That didn't really work. I might just try that again. 'Cause, it's one of those things where it definitely worked about half an hour ago. So we'll see if we can get it to play ball. But yeah, if you do find yourself having any issues, obviously, by the way, so right now, if I was still having issues, there we go. It's come through. That's cool. So essentially, I've got some good suggestions all the way through. There's a few things which I obviously don't have a template for. But it's done that same thing again. It seems to be kind of matching the right templates up to the right services, as far as I'm concerned. But please do kind of like take your time through this process and make sure that um, you kind of are kind of cross-checking all of this. But this all looks pretty good, so I'm just going to click save, and now we're kind of locked in. And now we can dynamically build our letters of engagement off the back of this. Um, I whizzed through that pretty quickly. Did that sort of seem okay? So I kind of makes sense to you?
Yeah, well, I think a lot of the way we've put engage out is to be quick. It's to save everyone time. So I suppose that's a good sign that you've whizzed through it quickly.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. It's certainly a lot faster than it used to be. Um, all right, fantastic. So the next area that we've been putting a fair amount of time into making the experience nicer is in the billing area. So if I jump over to where am I going to start? So from a billing perspective, I might start on the client's part. So um, firstly, we've made a new kind of client list view available, or grid view, so called invoice settings. So what we've found is that, especially for people that are looking to transition over to a new kind of like billing platform, or such as Adfin, for example, where things like the kind of like zero branding templates becomes really important. You might want to tailor those per client, or basically anywhere where you've actually got certain clients that need to be billed in slightly different ways. Then this is the view for you, essentially. And so from here, you've got lots of different kind of filtering options here, but from here, you can also just quickly edit each of your clients and say, actually, for this particular client, we're going to use a different zero branding theme, and we're going to apply a particular tracking category, and we are not going to consolidate one-off services into one invoice line, and we want them kind of split out. So click save on that, and you can see from here quite quickly that we've got, and then from here I can, for example, filter and say, show me all of the clients that are using a specific invoice template. So yeah, super kind of quick and easy way now of kind of managing those kind of settings sort of in bulk or quickly across your whole client portfolio. Um, that was the intention around that. Before that, you used to have to kind of click into each client and then click through to the invoice tab, and it wasn't very easy to see at a glance who was configured in what way. So yeah, a few helpful things there. The other area was the actual billing plan itself. So if I jump into here, previously it used to be kind of tricky to find issues. And so a really common issue that would cause kind of problems during the monthly billing run, the monthly kind of posting of invoices through to your billing platform, such as QuickBooks or Xero, is that if the client had actually been archived in the billing platform itself. So from here at the moment, I'm just going to quickly check this. Right, I'm just going to mark that as red just so we're kind of like clear from here. But if you came into here and, or actually, let's say you didn't even come into here. This is kind of like the first scenario. So you haven't been into the billing plan yet, but what happens when it does successfully post a bunch of invoices for January, for example, it will roll over to February and it will automatically calculate your billing plan for February. At that point, if it does detect any issues, so I'm going to hit recalculate now manually. You shouldn't normally need to do that very often, but at this point, it will actually detect whether there are any issues and it will let you know. So next time you log into Socket, you'll see a little alert up here and it will say, okay, we've got a billing plan issue and the billing plan for February has got a problem where there's one archived contact and 10 unlinked clients. So that's the first kind of indicator that something might be off that needs your attention. And then when you jump into here, previously it used to be that you had to kind of like scroll through, all your list of clients to try and find where the problems were. Now we've just got a couple of filters up here. So you can see we've got one issue. We also sort it so that the issues are at the top. And I can also see my unlinked clients here as well. So unlinked clients aren't necessarily an issue. They're probably just something that needs reviewed in terms of they don't exist in the billing platform yet. That might not be a problem if you've got a bunch of new clients. But it might be if they are already existing and maybe they just haven't been kind of mapped to the right contact in Zero, for example. But in terms of issues, if we filter on this, you can see here that we've got our archived client in Zero. And so what we can do from here is we can jump in and we can map that to any other client. So um, yeah, I guess it doesn't really matter from here. But essentially, if I map it to this contact in Zero, then we no longer have any issues. And so these kind of things will prevent you from approving the plan, and it will also prevent it from getting posted to Zero. So it's really important that we kind of let you know about it straight away. Um, yeah, I think that's kind of one of the areas that we've been working on quite a bit. The other thing I wanted to show you in this space was in work management. So when it comes to billing a piece of work that has been completed, one of the other requests, popular requests that we had was from here, when we go to complete and bill this work, you've got the option to send the invoice through to your billing platform. And what we were finding was that actually sometimes people wanted the ability to customize what it actually said in the invoice itself in terms of the line item description for that particular piece of work. It might have evolved a little bit over time, or you might want to get to like a bit more kind of detail. So you can actually do that right here, and it will actually carry that through and raise the invoice where you've got a customized kind of invoice description at that point. So I click confirm, and away that invoice goes, and it's got that kind of updated kind of custom invoice description essentially at that point. So I think that's kind of like the highlights really around the billing. I'll just do a quick pause, make sure I'm kind of all making sense. Si, everything all good there?
Yeah, I think certainly those couple of billing things that we've just gone through, those have been quite. I can see a few names in the webinar of people who've raised them, particularly with the issues when it comes to approving the plan. So I think they're really good, just general updates to Socket that I'm sure there's people sat watching the webinar or nodding their head going, oh, that's definitely gonna help because that annoyed me the other month, or
Yeah.
I went through to support for that. So no, really positive changes there.
Cool. Cool. Yeah, I mean, it's, that these are things that we're hoping people have been asking for a while. So it's good to get them out the door, which is nice.
Yeah.
So one of the new areas that I kind of talked about in our last webinar, but didn't kind of give you any kind of real insights on was our CSAT surveys. So this is pretty exciting because it's now live. It's fully available. It's free to everyone that's already a Socket subscriber and anyone to come. Essentially, CSAT surveys, so customer satisfaction surveys, are available, and you can use them right now within Socket. So it's really cool because it just means that it's already sort of in a platform where you've already got all of your clients and your contacts and everything ready to go. So I'll give you a little kind of preview, or I'll show you what it's like to start a new survey, and then I'll jump in and show you a sort of survey that's in progress, so you can see how that kind of shakes out. So if I click Start a New Survey from here, let's make this Q2 CSAT Q2 2026. Feels strange to write 2026, but there we are. And then from here, so you've got a couple of options in terms of like how you filter who you're going to contact or send the survey to. So firstly, I think it's kind of key to point out all active clients. So those are clients that have at least one active proposal or engagement letter on Socket. So you can contact all of those if you want to, or you can jump into filtering down that list. And so you might want to contact all clients where the client owner is Simon Evans, for example, to find out how size clients are getting on and whether they're happy. So you can kind of like tailor it down to that level if you wish to. The other one is you might want to kind of query, for example, limited companies and maybe not individuals and sole traders. It could be the case that limited companies you're dealing with on a sort of recurring monthly basis, and you want to sort of poll them on terms of how that kind of like monthly process is going versus sole traders or self-assessment individuals where you're only dealing with them once a year. So yeah, you've got a few options there in terms of how you kind of filter that down. But if I just go all active clients, jump into here, and then you can choose whether to just only contact the kind of primary contact for that client or everyone. So I'll just go primary contact for this and jump through to the kind of preview area. So in here at the moment, it's kind of selected everyone by default. So you can see I've got 111 contacts here across my clients. So essentially, they're all kind of like primary contacts for those clients, and you can kind of see what kind of filters we've already put in place. But what I can do from here is I can go, you know what, I'm actually only going to do just a handful of these. And so I can click exclude all, and then I can start bringing a certain number of contacts back in here. So I can say, okay, cool. I'm going to only include 5 people in my survey just because I want to sort of specifically find out how they're doing. And then from here, I can go to messaging. And so this is the final step essentially where we can tailor what the communications look like. So you can tailor the subject line. It's already kind of like pre-filled, and you can choose who it's sent as. So survey creator would obviously be myself, seeing as I'm logged in, but you could also choose for the survey to come from the client manager or the client owner, for example, or the principal of the practice. So in here, you can also tailor the email content. The main thing that you have to have in there is the survey link. So obviously that's the key part to drive people to come through and actually fill out the survey itself. Everything else is completely customizable. And you've got a bunch of different kind of tags that you can fill in here or that you can bring into the email. So it would be dynamically kind of populated. Lastly, before we hit send to clients, you've also got the chance of kind of checking out what the client will see when they click on that survey link and view the form. So if we click through to here, you can kind of see that, see this, but I'll come back to this in a little bit more detail in a second. So rather than hit send to clients, I'm just going to go back to the one that I'll leave this one in draft, and I'll jump back to the one that I've prepared earlier, as they say. So if I jump into the Q1 CSAT survey, you can see that it was sent out earlier today, and we've already had a number of responses, which is fantastic. Obviously, everyone was sitting right in front of their inboxes, ready to fill out the forms. And I've kind of been through and yeah, just filled out a bit of a range to show you what this kind of looks like as the survey is in progress. But you can see you've got your response rate there. You can see what your average customer satisfaction score is. 3.6 is pretty good. But the cool thing is when you get down into the individual responses, you've got a few options from here. You can see who hasn't completed their surveys yet. And so from here, if you get a week or two in and you haven't had a survey response from a large number of people, you can actually come into here and send reminders. And so there's a few little guardrails we've put in place just to make sure that we don't accidentally bug people too often. Um, but essentially, this will allow you to kind of give people a bit of a nudge and hopefully get them to complete the survey. So that's just a little sort of reminder function from here. And then the other option you've got from here is also the ability to export all of this data out to Excel. For further analysis, or if you need to share it with the wider team, if they're not already kind of using Socket as well. So in here, you can see I've completed a number of, I've essentially pretended to be these people and completed a number of surveys. And immediately we can see we've got some very happy people and some fairly unhappy people. So if I look at Jim, Jim's given a 1 star, so we can jump into here and we can see what Jim's kind of feedback was. And so if we jump in, we can see, okay, 1 star, not great. How could we improve? Filings have been late. We now have penalties to play. And then they get to select essentially a number of kind of like checkboxes to provide a bit more information as well. Um, the other really key thing here is that Jim's indicated that he's happy for a follow-up conversation, which means that he's unhappy, but it may not be too late to actually jump in and have a conversation and see whether it can be turned around, especially if, there could be reasons for filings have been late in terms of the client themselves not kind of responding in a decent enough time to get the information to then do the filing. There might be a bunch of reasons that you can actually use to then go and kind of recover that kind of relationship with the client. So that's one kind of positive that the surveys can bring is that you get a bit of a heads up when people are unhappy and you can kind of head that off and maybe having a conversation about it. The other really positive thing is if we jump into, we've got a few 5 stars here, which is pretty cool. Jordan, obviously very satisfied. And you've got almost got like the beginnings of testimonials going on here as well, right? So yeah, you've got a little bit of information around what we did well. And then you've also got the indication that they would recommend you, so that's fantastic. And so there's a reasonable chance here for two things basically. One is maybe getting a testimonial or getting them to refer other clients. But also I can see here in this comment in terms of how can we improve further. Well, actually, there might be an upsell here as well to actually, bring a kind of finance business partner or something like that, and essentially increase the amount of services you're providing to them on a monthly basis. So yeah, lots of kind of insights to be gained from these things. So highly recommend jumping in and giving it a try. Um, the other thing that I'll show you is actually what does it look like from a in-client perspective. And you can do this yourself. So from here, you can get a response link. And so this is the link to the actual survey form for that particular contact. And if are still logged into Socket, then essentially it'll be in preview mode. So if I jump into here, you can see that I can't submit it or anything, but you can kind of play around with this a little bit and see what what the form kind of looks like. And obviously it's branded up with your branding, not magic numbers. Um, so what I'm going to do actually is I think I'll just get that response link again in case I've done something funny, but I'm going to log out and show you what it looks like from a client perspective. So I'm going to log out from here and I'll jump into here and I will replace the link. And so this time I can actually submit feedback. So I am currently Colton, auto-generated name. Don't blame me for that one. And Colton is reasonably happy. And so you can see that the form kind of adapts based on the feedback that they give in terms of the color coding. So if I was very dissatisfied, it sort of jumps in terms of what we could have done better. There's a bunch of things that they can choose from. And then also you've got the option to have a follow-up conversation there as well. So that's how it kind of adjusts along the way. So in the mid-range, you've still got the options in terms of improvements. And then if I get into the positives, you've got those questions around would you recommend your practice to or our practice to others. So you can start to get quite yeah, a nice little tailoring there essentially. Um, yeah, so really keen for everyone to jump in and have a go. Would love some feedback in terms of what that, how that works out for you, and also what we should be working on next in that space. Um, and yeah, so I don't think I've actually got it mentioned in the roadmap, but we are looking to build out that kind of area more. And I can see it looks like I've got some questions in from Donna around the survey itself. So actually, I'd be happy to answer those now if that's cool, Si.
Yeah, yeah. I was just about to say that that leads you nicely on to Donna. Just wants to know if there's a way of adding additional questions to the survey or a way to add a link for a testimonial as well. So I
Nice.
suppose maybe a bit of customization on the survey front.
Yeah, definitely. So, to answer that first question around whether there's a way to add additional questions or kind of tailor the survey form, what we're planning on doing is launching a more kind of like fully featured kind of survey and kind of communications module called Pulse. And that would give you a lot more flexibility and power in terms of being able to create. We're starting with a bunch of templates, customer satisfaction being one of those, but then you can also tailor those completely to your needs and change the questions about or build your own from scratch if you want to. So that's kind of our plans there. And I think in terms of the second question, in terms of a way to add a link for a testimonial, I quite like that. So I'll have a chat with the team, and yeah, I imagine that will be going on the roadmap. In terms of where it lands, I'm not entirely sure yet, but I think that's a great idea. So yeah, I'd be keen to see that in there. I think that makes a lot of sense. Um, yeah. I mean, in terms of links to testimonials, be cool to hear in terms of where you would direct people to for that. If there's a particular platform that you're looking to collect testimonials on or anything like that, then let us know. And yeah, we can try and factor that in. Cool. So, last thing, how am I doing on time? Well, okay, yeah, I'm going to need to jump in relatively quickly. So, price monitoring or subscription monitoring, I should say, is something that we've also been working on quite a lot behind the scenes. So, I'll give you a little preview in terms of what it looks like now. So, two things here, I guess. Firstly, the kind of the way it behaves a little bit may have changed somewhat over the last kind of 6 weeks or so to what you might have seen in the past. And our aim is to try and make it a bit more flexible, a bit more powerful, and a bit easier to use. And then secondly, we've also launched QuickBooks alongside Xero as a subscription monitoring option. And we do plan on launching a few more. And then the last kind of part of this really is that we're also looking to launch a whole new kind of module around this called price monitoring, which goes into a lot more detail and a lot more power around monitoring things other than subscriptions. And so that's where things like um, payroll, employee numbers, monitoring metrics like annual revenue or transaction volumes, things like that can come into play. But firstly, let me give you a bit of a kind of a view in terms of what the new setup looks like. So when you maybe just jump back. So if I click on upload data or upload your first data set, from here it'll slide out from the side. Um, you probably will only be able to see these bottom two. The other two are kind of in the works or in progress, so that's a little preview right there. But if I jump into the QuickBooks one, for example, the first thing it's going to ask you to do is set up your settings, and you essentially choose the services that you want to use to monitor, essentially, or track against your QuickBooks report. So I've already done that, and then just realized that I need to grab the uh, price monitoring setup. So if I jump back and I go QBO, drag it into here, and upload. Then it's going to essentially compare the proposals that we've got inside in Socket already to the essentially like QuickBooks report that you get with all of your subscription charges for all of your clients. So for most of the kind of test data I've got on here, there aren't any matches, so I'll just say missing data. But you can see here, actually, I've got three clients where there is a variance. So these three are essentially being undercharged. And so from here, I can click on this row, and it will come in and give you a bit more detail in terms of what's happening here. So you can see that the proposal price is £17, and then the calculated price is £18.80. So we're actually being undercharged there. And so I can see that the QuickBooks charge here is for Online Plus, and this is probably actually for Online Essentials, for example. And so that's undercharged. And actually, you can kind of go through and go, well, actually, that was intentional, or we've got a special arrangement with this particular client, and so you can now exclude sort of certain rows or certain kind of charges from the analysis itself. Um, so that's kind of the first step. The other really cool thing that you will be able to do with the new price monitoring module that's coming is actually start to bring in other reports into the same analysis. So you imagine that you're coming into partway through the month, and you need to start figuring out which of your clients there's been changes around. It's not necessarily just one particular piece of software that might have had a price change, but it could be a whole raft of changes sort of across the board. And so, to give you an example of this, if I jump into upload data again, from here I can actually jump into BrightPay. So again, this isn't live just yet. This is a kind of like coming soon feature, so just a cheeky little preview. And from here, when I jump into BrightPay, it's a slightly different kind of style, really, because we're not just matching up kind of like prices. We're actually looking to match different things that are sitting within the kind of like service drivers. So you can see here actually where we've chosen like payslips finalized is what comes through from the BrightPay report, payroll kind of like CSV report, and then we're actually like auto monitoring those against payroll drivers that are contained within these two services. And so you've got a few options there. You can kind of like manually select particular price drivers. But essentially we're looking for employee count here because this is a kind of like payroll specific kind of template that we're using. So if I jump into here and I'll bring in a BrightPay report and click upload. So I'll just give that a little second. And so this is now, it's kind of cool because we've kind of got, we've layered in both our subscription monitoring and also our price monitoring for payroll into one kind of view. So you can go away from this and come back to it and sort of upload a few different reports into here, and it starts to become really powerful. So if I click into Boom FM, for example, from here, we can see that we've got BrightPay's coming in, and number of employees is 10 in their proposal, and then the actual number of employees in the BrightPay payroll is 8. So actually, we're currently overcharging them. So that's interesting. But you can see that the total variance is still is kind of positive, but we are undercharging them in here. So there's a couple of different things going on there. Obviously, if I click on like Acme Limited, for example, we're undercharging across both fronts. So 5 employees in the proposal and 8 in the payroll report from BrightPay. So from here, the next step, which is still in progress completely, so I can't even sort of preview that for you, but the next kind of logical step to this is actually how do we take action from here? So we can kind of surface this information and summarize it for you, and then sort of link through to the client. But then the next step is actually to jump into making a proposal adjustment to reflect those changes and sort of automatically create a kind of like draft proposal with those changes in it for you. So yeah, I'm super excited for the direction that we're going in with this, and I think it will be really, really powerful, and hopefully save a lot of time across the course of a month for people coming in that needing to make sort of really sort of tiny changes around employee numbers or yeah, subscription charges and things like that. So yeah, once again, watch the space, and we'll kind of keep you posted when various things launch. QuickBooks is in there now, and that new kind of like style of kind of working with this area is in there too. But the rest isn't far away. Cool. So I've done lots of speaking. We've only got 5 minutes left. Um, if I jump into here, I'll whiz through this super fast. So I've already talked about price monitoring. So coming soon essentially is that layering that I just showed you, plus also kind of flexibility around what to monitor. Socket Engage, we've always got more on the works there. Looking forward to kind of making different kind of styles of service schedules and agreements that are more compact, but kind of just make everything easier to digest for everyone. And then allowing you to choose between the kind of broader ones or ones that go into more detail if you're trying to break down your services in a bit more detail in the proposal and looking to match those things up. And finally, what we talked about earlier a little bit was the reporting dashboard. So I fully understand that you're kind of keen to see more oversight around how your proposal sort of system is playing out over the course of a month, 6 months, a year, and also, what your team are up to in there. So we're really keen to build out a bit more of a sort of dashboard in there to show you a bunch more insights. All of the data is there. I think we just need to build it out. We're really keen to work with you on that. So any kind of feedback or ideas you've got on that, we'd love to hear them. Yeah, cool. Yeah, so we've got a few minutes for any particular questions, if there are any. I think we've kind of answered a few along the way. But
Yeah, I think a lot of them have been relevant as we've been going through, so we've sort of answered those. But I suppose if anyone does have any just general questions, click the support bubble in the bottom corner of your socket window. Do get through to us. More than happy to go through everything there. And I think just to touch on what Rich mentioned there, with if there's feedback, if there's things you want to see in socket, you can access the feedback portal through the support bubble in the bottom corner, or if you just type in feedback.usesocket.com into your address bar, and we've got a lovely little portal there. You can feed back to us, let us know things you want to see. I think there's an open topic there with socket engage templates as well that a lot of people have been adding to for us to add that to our roadmap.
fantastic. Okay. Well, if we haven't got too much coming in, then we can probably call it there if you like. Does that sound okay, Si?
Yeah, there's nothing new coming in there now, so
Cool.
perfect timing after all that, Rich.
Yeah, it wasn't too bad. I was a little worried actually. I'd gone over time, but it's worked out well. So, everyone, thank you very much for listening. Thanks for your help, Si. And yeah, hopefully you found that exciting. But yeah, always keen to hear more in terms of ideas and how to improve the product. And yeah, great speaking with you all. And we'll see you soon.
Catch you later, everyone.
Thanks, everyone.